know. There's a lot. Not. I think a lot of people were saying this is like the worst thing on paper going into AEW pay per view. I gotta say, All Out didn't
Mm,
look that hot this year.
I have to see like the side by sides for certain shows they want to pull up
And I
next
would
to it.
I would encourage people to kind of check out some of the pandemic shows, like maybe the All Out one 2020, also Revolution 2021, where they barely had any regular singles matches on the card and stuff like that. Like
Ooh, you know why? You know why I remember that one? Because that went up the same week against the Stardom Brooklyn Hall show, the anniversary show. Like, and we were. I remember you were like, that was one of the best shows last year. One of the very best shows last year. And I remember before, like, we were previewing both of you. Yeah, I remember you were like, look, I know this much. It won't have the singles wrestling on it like the Stardom show will. I remember you saying that.
Yep.
That was funny.
Yeah. So I would not buy into that hyperbole. However, I think what they may actually be trying to say is just the overall temperature of everything. So
Yeah.
I think
I have
go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask you. So we're done now, dude. Do you want to continue with?
We're done on AEW.
Okay, so I was going to ask you, like, all right, not necessarily this whole cycle, because like coming out of Full Gear, like they had incredible shows, some of the best shows in the company's history, a couple of them, right? Why does it feel like the last half of this cycle was so like far below like the first half of the cycle?
I feel
Was
like
it just like they were booking cards to try to show that like we're still doing it even without CM Punk and the Elite, and then like it kind of like came crash into reality, or what do you think it
I
was?
think some of that came to light because like they went really hard out the gate,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was a case like I actually think they actually did a way better job this time, just because they got the world title stuff rolling 6 weeks out, and
Mm-hmm.
everything kind of fell in line from there. I feel like a lot of stuff was like linearly set up. Like you can draw a straight line with all the tag title stuff from All Out
Mm-hmm.
to fucking Arthur Ashe to the number one
Here,
contenders match to here. Like
yeah, that's perfect. That's something that's perfectly fine to me. Yeah,
so like I don't know. I think people may be tired of the Jazz and BCC stuff. Like it's getting
that could
a
be it.
little
It is
long in
kind
the
of long.
tooth.
Yeah,
People are
especially when
anticipating.
Moxie's not involved in it because he's pulled out and doing all these
Right,
title defenses instead right now. Yeah.
right. Moxley, like when he's the champion, like there's like a lot of people say he doesn't actually do feuds. Like he does like just defenses, like against I can't even think of who he's really defended against in the past like couple weeks.
Well, he had the let's see. He had like back to back defenses. Like
Yeah. He had a
he
match
had
with
the Page defense, and he had
Penta and
like
Page.
a and yeah, and then Penta right after, like next week.
Yeah,
And it was almost like they did it as a make good because of what happened in the Page match.
right, and they've kind of put him on ice since then to start, rolling into, the title match with MJF. I don't know, like I think there's a lot of like, I think it's just people. There's a lot of bullshit that actually distracts from what happens on the show that I think a lot of people are wrapped up in, and that kind of creates like a
Like the
whirlwind,
CM Punk stuff or like the discourse.
like the random discourse out of any show.
Do you think
Um,
that's any different from before?
Yes, because it's following the brawl out stuff.
Okay.
And I think the second half, like it was like all right, like the whole investigation was going on, that was hanging over everything. Then once that was cleared up, it was like okay, the elite vignette started. I think people were anticipating them to actually just show back up on the show, and the fact they haven't is just like all right, like where are they
Mm-hmm.
now? And then like holes are kind of starting to emerge like in certain quarter hours where it's like, well, what's this got to do with? And then like Jeff Jarrett shows up, and that whether you're anti or pro Jeff Jarrett, that
A lot of
creates a whole
yeah, and then a lot of like pushing Ring of Honor.
pushing Ring of Honor stuff. That's I feel like there are some people that look at it and say, well, it's just 3 letters and stuff like that. But when you're doing like, I feel like Rampage has been non-essential. That's not
Oh
helped.
yeah.
I think that the some of the people that they've decided to push in Ring of Honor are just quarter-hour black holes like Gates of Agony. No disrespect to those guys, but like
They're not entities
yeah,
at AEW.
yeah, they're not like essential entities. I think the women's division's been especially strong.
It's been a lot better. And like, look, we had to like when they did that, women's revolution ass thing with Saraya to start. We were like, oh, this is like them just ripping off that same thing, and that was bad. My antennas are up. I'm concerned, but like they have three solid programs.
I don't think anyone will actually ever give them credit for that. But it is what it is. On that, either fall for the griff or don't. I don't know. I think a lot of backstage stuff and just they have been decimated by injury.
Hold on. Think about it. Like think of the programs, right? Like none of the 6 women feel like they're non-entities and won't matter like in the weeks after this, right? Like Nyla was second champion. Jade is undefeated. Britt's the ace or the biggest star in the thing.
And she's actually creating like a non-title feud.
Right. So Saraya's just getting started. Toni Storm is interim champion, and Jamie has the Britt thing, even if she's not the champion. Like, this is like the thing that we were asking for is like, it's not just a bum of the month type, or challenger of the month type of thing, and then you just move on.
And Riho came back recently.
Yeah.
And Emi Sakura's been going nuts on Dark Elevation from everything I've been hearing. I've been seeing Black Sabre Jr. Posting about it a lot. Like here she has like 5 matches of late that have all been really good. I don't know. I think it's just people caught up in the momentum of the company. Like it comes and goes, and
look, you have something like that happen, people are gonna. It's like, wait a second. Like, so 3 of the like 6, 7 biggest acts in the company are all just like on the sideline, and we don't know if and when they'll be back and when they come back and whatever the situation is and everything. Like it like any promotion that suffers that is going to be like, what the fuck? Like, imagine they took a Bloodline off TV. Obviously these aren't all as connected. But you get my point. Is like, you're like, wait, what the hell's going on here? Right. So yeah, I think they did, they mounted a hell of a front in the beginning, and then like it just started turning into like as you mentioned, like Ring of Honor stepping up and Long in the Tooth BCC versus JSA, and Moss is kind of sequestered, so he's not like actually interacting with that stuff right now. So yeah, it was a lot of stuff, and it also hurt. Paige has missed the last month because he got concussed. Like
that's all this it's up.
Yeah,
the Hangman concussion thing. I think that shit was like a bummer, like on a lot of levels. Like, because obviously he's not listed for the card at the moment.
He would have been on the card. He's a featured act.
Yeah. And then like that kind of.
He's a featured act, meaning like he's on the marquee. Caleb. So Ethan Page was a featured act. Fuck, man.
But
okay, sure.
But yeah, like they're still feeling the departure or the absence of those 3. They're still feeling the injury bug with Paige, with Adam Cole, with a lot of other people out. Because like when I looked at that tournament, it was like, wow, they really did do the best of what they had left. But like they're still like, for anyone else to be hit like this, I feel like the combination of real life issues and injuries and shit you can't control, I think TK's still the Booker of the Year. How he's handled all this, like, it's been almost like, for the cards to remain as strong, I think, as they have been. It's been like, if you're gonna take it off him, I would wait till next year to do that.
I would say that I was more impressed with what he was doing with Cody going, with Kenny Omega out until the summer, with Moxley gone for 12 weeks, with with Cole in and out at the time. I was more impressed with what he was doing in the
first 6 months.
The first 6 months, actually more like the first 9 months, and then no MJF for a long time, like the first 9 months, and then like once the brawl out thing happened, it was like, those first month was awesome, and then like started seeing some things. I'm like, that's kind of odd. It's kind of strange. Whatever else. Like either way, if I had to, vote for promoter or booker of the year, like it's him and Rossi. But I think that like Rossi has kind of closed the gap because of like what the Grand Prix was, and then like the kind of weird stuff that kind of was him trying to with the ring of honorification stuff that was going on, or whatever else. I understand, like some of the stuff he's not going to care for or whatever else, but like he's still, at worst. I just think that I think he probably still be number one pick, but I think he's closed. The gap is shrinking, and we'll see how this goes with like these next two shows we're about to review and where we go from here. Like, but with Elite back, it should kind of get back on a better.
That's a big shot in the arm for
Yeah.
a lot of folks. So new talent like Bandito,
the Elite showing up at All Elite Wrestling, yeah, that hurt. That helps.
Bandito being signed to a contract, Will Nightingale being signed, like these are all like very positive, like well received. These have had a good These moves have a good reception. I can't speak, but
I enjoy both the signings.
Yeah.
I may get the Willow Nightingale shirt. I may get it. You might see it on the stream in a couple weeks. We'll see.
So I don't know. Like when and then Takesha's back as Black Sabre Jr. has mentioned. So like I would advise people, like when you see people throw out these blanket statements, I would ask them kind of what they mean, because I feel like there's just as much stuff that kind of flies that says things are going right, but you got to take your lumps too, and I think these are just lumps they're taking right now.
Yeah, and I think like with the people that were missing, like a lot of people that were missing, like Paige, like the Elite, CM Punk going, like so much of what people loved about the promotion was out of there, was like the storytelling and like the long form storytelling and like the heated feuds, and like say what you want about Punk now to this day, like he was their best person at like television as far as like getting on here, cutting promos, building to the next program, building on top of the program you're working on, and getting to the pay-per-view. He just was. And like, he's going to be gone more likely than not, and like that's going to be a hole you have to fill. And like obviously you have people like Moxley and MJF, but like there's only but so many of them dudes that ever been on this spinning rock that could do that kind of thing, and he was still fucking awesome at it. So yeah, a lot of the quote unquote heart of the promotion, has been gone, with those three acts being sequestered off or sent off because they have to get figure out what the hell happened.
So yeah, man. I guess now we just gotta hit the music.